Well, welcome to Orchid Lakes. If you saw my previous video from here, it was a lot warmer. It was back in July, and I did manage a 20-pound common, so I'm hoping to, get on the fish again this time. I've got 48 hours. I'm currently stood in the All Alone, which is one of the back bays. That's why it looks quite small behind me here. But there is 17 or 18 acres out there to go at, and I'm just currently having a walk around trying to find some swims and trying to find some fish. I got up stupidly early this morning and just finished sorting out my last few bits, and then grabbed the ferry from the Isle of Wight over to Southampton, and I've just done the 2-hour drive up here in horrible rain, to be fair, but it's kind of stopped a bit now, but it's nice and overcast, nice and carpy. And I'm meeting up with Luke from Carpology, and we're going to be doing 48 hours fishing and filming together, so that's really exciting. Hopefully we can grab a couple of fish and show you the fish that live in this stunning place. And yeah, I'm going to carry on walking around, going to hopefully find a couple of swims for me and Luke, and I'll get set up and everything, and then I'll talk to you a little bit later when we know what we're doing. Well, here we are. You've joined me at the very wet Orchid Lakes. I think when I showed you walking around earlier on, the rain had actually stopped, and I thought it was going to be dry the rest of the day. And then the heavens opened, and it literally hasn't stopped raining for about 6 hours now. And we're coming into the evening, so apologies I've not filmed a bit more today. But as I said, the rain has it's made everything really difficult. I've only just got the rods out, and it's just about to get dark. I don't know if you can see outside. It looks lighter because I've got the ISO and the camera turned right up, but I think it's something around 6 o'clock now, and yeah, we are losing the light a bit. So it's been a hard day so far. I only just got the rods out, so not much to report really. I met up with Luke from Carpology, and we picked a couple of swims. I'm in Powerleys, and he's in, I think it's called Chris's Bar, which is a couple of swims up, mainly because the other side of the lake was really busy, and we figured that the fish had probably pushed over this way a little bit. Hopefully that's a bit better, you can see me a bit better now. Yeah, the far side of the lake was all pretty much stitched up. There were swims free, but the way people were spreading the rods out, we couldn't really get enough water for two of us to fish really, and we figured with everyone being on that side of the lake, the fish might push over slightly. And then actually, since we've been in our swims, we've seen a few shows in our water, so we are feeling fairly confident. Got my 3 rods out now, all fishing S-core bottom baits tipped with fake corn, and just fishing over a little bit of hemp and corn and boilies. I'll talk you through that a bit more tomorrow, and I'll show you the rigs and everything. And yeah, for tonight we're just going to be sitting watching the water, hopefully making something happen in the next 48 hours that we've got on this session. And I'm going to be talking with Luke from Carpology tomorrow, so stay tuned for that, guys. And obviously any fish that come along, we'll be showing you those. So yeah, I'm just going to try and get warm. Got absolutely soaked earlier on. Yeah, it's been mental today, but I'm hoping that tomorrow is a bit drier, so we've got a bit more time for filming and stuff, so I can show you guys a bit more of the swim and everything, and talk to you about spots and everything. So yeah, stay tuned. We'll try and get warmed up and dried off, and I'll speak to you tomorrow, if not before, with the fish. Right, welcome back guys, and I'm happy to say the rain has finally stopped. and I've woken up to a really still sort of misty morning. It's very sort of atmospheric and lovely down here at the moment. Not particularly sure if it's the best fishing conditions really. We've got really flat water, like mirror calm. It's good for spotting fish, but not necessarily good for getting a bite. Same as last time I was here, there's quite a bit of road noise behind me, so apologies if that sort of makes it hard to hear me, but I'll try and talk between the cars, if you know what I mean. So I was up at first light this morning, around about 7 o'clock this time of year. We're in October, and I was just watching the water. A load of geese just gone over. And yeah, I think it's really important, particularly if you don't know a lake very well, like I don't really know this lake well. You've just got to watch the water and see where the fish are showing and see where there's fizzing and jumping, and you can try and build up a bit of a picture of where the fish are, where they're going to be feeding at certain times of day. So I'm always watching the water, you know, and as I'm talking to you, you might notice I'm still looking out at the lake occasionally, just picking up on any signs so that I might be able to move a rod onto a productive area. So my sort of plan of attack last night, really, because of all the rain and everything, I just wanted to get the rods out as quick as possible in between the rain, sort of when it lightened off a bit. So I had a marker around with my marker rod, you know, dragged it back, and I know there's some bars out in front of here, some gravel bars with silt in between, so just tried to find the bar and fish over the back of it, really, because I figured this time of year the fish are going to be cruising up and down the silt looking for the sort of natural food that might be dying off in, you know, because we're sort of autumn coming into winter now, and it's prime time for sort of fishing in the silt. You know, it kind of stays warmer for longer as the water's cooling down, but also the natural food's in there, so the carp are generally moving away from the margins at this time of year as the water's cooling and head into the silt. So that's what I've done. I think it's about 90 yards or something like that. I'm fishing out to some sort of features in the far trees. I'll talk about those a bit later. I'll probably show you the spots. But yeah, I found a nice firm area sort of over the back of some gravel, and I've just put out minimal amount of bait, really, because I think the carp are there anyway, you know, and I'm not trying to pull them in, and I think they can spook off big beds of bait at Orchid lakes anyway. So I've just put out enough for a bite on each rod, a mixture of hemp, corn and different sized Richworth Escort boilies, and then I've just fished a little boilie tip with fake corn over the top. I might switch a rod to a wafter at some point, and I might try a pop-up at some point, but I don't think it matters too much what my hook bait is, because I'm fishing over a mixture of different sizes and different shapes and different colours anyway, so hopefully the carp will come in and kind of pick up everything, but we'll see. And we have seen a few fish showing yesterday evening, so it looks promising, but nothing to report as yet. But yeah, we're going to be talking to Luke from Carpology later on. We've got quite a bit of filming to do for the Carpology video, so apologies if this video is sort of fairly minimal in terms of me talking to you, but it is important obviously that we get the Carpology video done, so that's why we're here. But I will try and talk to Luke at some point, and I'll try and show you a bit of behind the scenes stuff if I'm allowed to, when he's filming me and things like that. So stay tuned for that, and I'll talk you through my rig at some point, and I'll show you the spots at some point. So yeah, I'm going to get some breakfast on and have a coffee, and yeah, I'll talk to you a bit later. Right guys, quick update for you. We've not really had any action in our current swims. I'm in Powley's and Luke's in Chris's bar. We've seen the odd fish showing, but not really any feeding activity. I think the fish are just sort of jumping out. But the Alamo has just become free, and if you know anything about Orchid lakes, you'll know the form of the Alamo. And we've actually seen fish in the open water around there and off the reeds and stuff. So we've spoken to the bailiff, and he said there's no one booked on, so we're going to move all our gear into the Alamo now and we've got 24 hours to hopefully pull the fish out of the bag. So that's the plan. I'm just going to start packing everything down, leave the rods in till the absolute last minute, and hopefully nick a bite before we move. But yeah, we're gonna gather everything up and get a lift round. They've got a trailer and a pickup truck here that they take your stuff round to swim for you. That's you know, I think there's a small charge for that, but it's a lot quicker and easier. You can do everything in one go, and hopefully we've got a night ahead of us. We can make something happen. So I'll catch up to you a little bit later when we're set up in the Alamo, and I'll talk you through the spots where we're fishing and everything, and we'll have a little chat with Luke before it gets dark. So stay tuned, guys. Well, as you might see from looking behind me here, we've now moved swims, as I said we were going to, and we're now in the Alamo, which has got to be one of the most famous day ticket swims in the country, I would think. You know, the scene of some epic catches, particularly in the winter, but we're told, you know, the best chance of a bite whilst we're here for the next 24 hours, well, it's more like 12 hours now. Before we've got to leave. We've just got the night really, and then we're going in the morning. So yeah, it's down to the wire again. We seem to have spent so much time just trying to find spots, and you know, the rain yesterday really made us struggle to get rods out at all, you know, and then spent ages finding spots, and before we knew it was dark, you know, and that was one night gone almost. And then today we sort of ummed and ahed about what to do and decided to move, but you know, I'm still not got all my rods out, and we're coming into the evening again, so it feels like we haven't fished very effectively on this session, just because, you know, we don't know the lake very well, and it kind of shows you that we are human, and you can't always just go and land on the fish and catch them straight away. But tonight's the night, I think. You know, we're in the Alamo. It's a well-known producer of fish, and we've been put onto spots by Simon the bailiff. He's very kindly come down to see us. I don't think he's working today, but he popped in just to sort of put us onto some spots, in the hope that we can get a fish for you guys to see, and show what's in this lovely lake. You know, I mean, I did catch when I came here before, back in July. If you saw my video about Orchid Lakes then, part of my road trip series, if you haven't seen that, obviously go check it out. I'll put a link below. So, you know, I feel like my bait works and my tactics, my rigs and everything work on here. It's just finding the spots really, and that's kind of what I feel like we've done now. We've got in the Alamo, been put on the spots, you know, not the best watercraft, but you know, we want to catch a fish, so you know, we're not going to turn that down, are we? So just before I put my last rod out, I've got 2 rods out already. I was going to show you my setup really for this session. So actually on Orchid Lake there's no leaders allowed of any sort, so what I've got is tubing there, about 2.5 foot of tubing coming down to an angling iron lead clip there. I'll see if I can get that a bit closer for you. Yeah, so a lead clip, you know, tail rubber lead clip, a swivel, 4 ounce distance lead, because we're casting quite far here, up to 100 yards one of the spots is, and then quick link with a bit of silicone over it, about 8 to 10 inches of strippable coated braid, with a bit of putty in the middle there, and then underneath all this is my my rig that I caught my 60 pounder on. I've done a video for that rig, if you have a look back on my channel. I'll also link it below, but it's basically like a blowback rig but with a swivel on the shank instead of a hair. And I've got an S-core 14mm bottom bait tipped with a bit of fake corn, little bag of pellet and
chops there, and I've also put a Carp Craze nugget just around the hook to stop the bait spinning around the point, and that's a Carp Craze PVA bag there, just with a long tail, and that's also looped around the hook to sort of help stop anything wrapping up. So that's going out on the spot, and I'm just putting out a couple or 3 spoms of kind of crumb and pellet and a bit of sweet corn, and that's it really. I'm fishing very light tactics because we are just hoping for a bite, you know, and I don't want to fill it in when we've only got one night left, because it can narrow your chances down. So that's a good tip for you. You know, if you find the spots that are known to be productive, you don't need a lot of bait to get a bite, because the fish have already visited that spot, so you just need enough for a couple of mouthfuls, and hopefully one of those mouthfuls has your hook bait in it. So I'm going to get this rod out now, and that's all I can do really. So we'll have to wait and see what the night brings. Luke's just gone off to do a little interview with Marsh Prattley, the owner here, so he'll be back in a minute, and I'm hoping to have a little chat with him for you guys, just so you can sort of learn a little bit about his role at Carpology, and you know, I wouldn't mind asking him how he got into it, because it would be quite interesting to see how you go about working for the biggest carp angling magazine going. You know, it's a dream job for a lot of people. I know I wouldn't mind doing something like that. So yeah, we'll have a chat with him later, and also I'll try and talk you through roughly the spots that I'm fishing, so if you ever did want to fish here, you'd sort of know a good starting point as well. So stay tuned for that, guys, and yeah, I'll update you a little bit later.
Yeah, that's really.
So as promised, guys, this is Luke from Carpology.
Hello.
Very excited to be meeting this man.
Don't need to be.
a fellow bearded weirdo, you know.
And the light is perfect. It's really
glowing,
orange,
mate.
I'm brighter than that marker.
Yeah. But yeah, so Luke's one of the videographers at Carpology, and as you know, watching my videos, I'm obviously into my videography and things, and I just thought it'd be interesting to pick your brains a little bit, Luke, about sort of how you started and how you ended up working for Carpology.
Yeah, I mean, started as in started photography.
Well,
video,
yeah, I mean, have you always done it sort of since a kid, or?
I pretty much started from going fishing.
Oh right, okay.
So
same as me, really.
Yeah, once I was outside in nature a little bit, I was like, actually, I really like all the surroundings.
Yeah, and you've got a lot of time, haven't you, when you're fishing?
And
so.
there's so much more to fishing than just catching fish.
Yeah,
and I don't catch a lot of fish, so
no, I mean, neither of us do on this session, do we?
No, so that's why I picked up a camera. So it worked quite well. It fills that time when not a lot's happening,
and it gives you some sort of an achievement from the session. If you don't catch, at least you've got some good pictures.
Well, I always used to think that when I go fishing, if I don't catch something and I get a picture that I'm happy with, that means just as much
as a win,
as catching a fish does.
Yeah, perfect.
So I love my hobbies equally, so it works really well.
Yeah.
So probably a year after I started fishing, that's when I actually got into photography.
Right, okay,
just had a little compact camera that my sister bought me actually for a birthday.
Oh, right, yeah.
And I remember getting this. I was feeding this goose by hand.
Yeah.
And well, I was trying to, and it was getting closer and closer.
Yeah.
Eventually, it started taking from my hand, so I had a little pop up. Probably the worst thing you can feed a goose. But floated away after. Gave it this little pop up. I had the compact in the other hand, and this proper close up of a goose taking it.
Yeah, nice.
And it was that kind of sparked it really.
Oh, okay. You'll have to send me that if you've got it.
I've got it somewhere.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Mate.
Yeah, I have got it somewhere.
Nice.
And it just kind of went from there. I'd wanted to get DSLR for ages.
Yeah.
Eventually, I got drunk enough on Christmas and ordered one on Amazon. And that came for a few days later. And
nice. Happy Christmas.
It just kind of spiraled from there, really.
Okay, cool. And then, so from that, obviously, you kind of honed your craft. Like, went for a few years, got good at it, and then, sort of, how did you go from that to then working at Carpology?
I basically annoyed them. So
that can work sometimes.
Eventually they employed me.
Nice.
I got in contact with Joe, the editor at Carpology, and I was like, look, they're big into their photography. It's clear, you can see it through the mag.
Okay.
And I just wanted to be a part of it. So I emailed him, I was like, I love the mag, how do I become part of this? Supplied a few photos, and Joe really liked what I supplied.
Cool,
and then I every few months I'd send him another batch of photos, and then a few of them started getting printed. So I had a couple of, or a few double page spreads, like opening spreads,
so that's,
scenic nature stuff.
It's an important point, I guess, is you say annoy them, but persistency, you know, like not just giving up because you haven't had a response, you know, and I guess trying different things, different styles of photos until you find what they like, I guess.
Yeah,
would be a good thing.
Basically find what you enjoy with photography, and then obviously everything else becomes a lot easier.
Yeah, and I guess as anglers we have a different style of photography to, say, a wedding photographer or something else, you know, it's different, isn't it?
I tried weddings and I did not enjoy that.
Yeah, I don't like the idea of it, it sounds stressful to me.
If anyone ever asks you, then
it's too much pressure, isn't it?
Avoid it all costs.
Yeah. So your role within Carpology, sort of what's your day-to-day job really?
It varies massively.
Yeah, so it keeps it interesting.
Yeah, since I only started there 7 months ago.
Right.
And I've already been to Belgium, been to Czech Republic, I've been to
you were saying
all different venues, like all over the UK.
It's not a bad life, really.
not really, no. I mean, obviously the downside is you're away quite a bit.
Yeah.
So it's not great.
And
actually,
actually, as we've sort of felt on this session, whilst you're fishing, you're very busy, aren't you?
You don't stop.
That's an important thing I've noticed from doing my own videos.
Mm-hmm.
You know, fishing is a relaxing hobby where you go and you just sit by the lake and it's lovely.
Yeah.
As soon as you bring a camera into it, you kind of feel like you have to film everything, and that's great. And if you're motivated enough to do it, then brilliant. But be aware, I suppose, the viewer, that it feels like work, doesn't it? And it is work for you.
Constantly.
So as long as you treat it like work, and don't let it ruin your fishing, then that's kind of all right, isn't it?
Yeah, I mean, with me, these sort of sessions, obviously they are work. I am working.
But it's nice to call this work as well.
It is, and it takes away from your own fishing because you don't have that time that you normally would have.
Yeah, just to switch off or whatever.
But I would never say that that's a bad thing because you get to go to all these different venues. I mean, behind me in that lake is over 50 different 30s.
That's crazy, isn't it?
That's
you wouldn't
not
be
somewhere
here
I'd
normally, would you? No. Yeah, that's interesting. It sort of gives you variety in your fishing, and it just takes you places.
It changes your fishing. It's just a different aspect, really.
Yeah, and then the other side of it, you were saying about sort of product reviews and videos and stuff, which is something that I've done a little bit with Jag, and that's quite interesting. But it's different, isn't it? It's a lot more kind of technical, and
obviously you've got to make sure I mean, each product has a whole list of different features.
That's it.
You've got to make sure you've got to get all them shots. You've got to obviously present it in that kind of way as well, so you can then overlay them shots. It doesn't just get thrown together. No, like, there's a lot of thinking. I mean,
I suppose it comes from experience. You know, you've done it before Carpology, a lot of video stuff, and then obviously since doing it, you've probably got better in the time that you've been there, have you? I suppose.
I hope so.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure it's great content that you get, isn't it? You know,
and again, it's because it's something I enjoy doing. So I enjoy the editing side of it.
Yeah.
I love my photography. I love video.
Yeah, perfect.
Like everything just links in together.
Yeah.
And because of that enjoyment, that's how hopefully it produces quite a good video.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's good if you can find something that you love and actually do that for a job. Then it doesn't feel like work so much.
No, exactly. I mean, there's certain days where obviously they are long days.
Yeah.
Like filming these sort of things.
Yeah. I mean, we're on the go till late, up early.
Yeah, exactly.
And then,
I mean,
busy during the day.
Yeah, this time of year it's not quite so bad because obviously it's only light for a certain amount of time.
Of course,
But during the summer, like a couple of months ago.
Yeah. Oh, hello. Oh, it's seagulls, I think. Is it?
I don't know.
Right hand rod.
It was, wasn't it?
There's seagulls diving out there.
It could be.
Guys, you've probably heard Luke's receiver there. We just had a bit of an occurrence, didn't you? But
yeah, I think it probably is the seagulls diving.
Yeah, they seem to be going mad.
I think that's the first beat that I've heard since we've been in.
Yeah. So it's been a tough old session, hasn't it? You know, it's really interesting. Thanks for chatting about the Carpology stuff. I mean, I love hearing about that because it's something I'm interested in. But yeah, as far as this session goes, mate, we've had it hard, haven't we? You know, we've got here peeing down with rain, couldn't really get the rods out. I mean, it sounds like we're sort of being a bit wet, you know, pardon the pun, but
we definitely were.
Yeah, but like, you know, it's only a bit of rain, but you know, when you're trying to sort of stand out for an hour and a half,
we turned up at 11 o'clock yesterday, and we didn't get the rods out till half six.
Yeah,
it was literally
that was it, and we
dusk,
weren't really that confident, I don't think.
No.
And yeah, it's hard fishing when you're not confident, isn't it?
Yeah,
and I
not
think
confident,
moving
you're
here was a
soaking
good
wet.
idea because you know this swim's got form. The
Mhm.
bailiff put us on some spots and everything, so you know we've done all we can now, haven't we? And,
Yeah.
and we've sort of got our rods out for the night. We've got 3 rods each. Kind of fanned out a little bit. Luke's gone
Yeah,
for an area sort of 23 wraps, something like that.
Yeah, 23.5 wraps, and I've got all 3 rods kind of on that spot. Just well, they're about 10 foot apart, so
Yeah.
it's a big area.
in a line, but that's on a sort of known clay
Yeah,
area,
it's like
isn't
a
it?
bowl of clay, basically.
Yeah. So
it
Luke's done
drops
that,
down.
and I've gone more out into the open water on the left-hand side of the swim because it is a double swim, this one, and spread my rods on 3 completely separate spots on the advice of the bailiff again. They've really been quite helpful here,
It's been
haven't
really
they?
helpful. Yeah.
Really nice guys, and you know, ask away because they're quite happy to answer the questions, aren't
definitely, and they know the lake inside out.
Yeah,
as well, don't
that's
they?
it, yeah.
Literally, just wherever you are, it's like right, you want to be there.
Because it is quite an interesting lake, isn't it? It's not just a clay hole. It's got like humps and bars and silt and weed, and you've got to kind of
gravel,
know it. Yeah, and
I
I think on a short session like we're doing, if you just turned up without any sort of local knowledge, you'd struggle, wouldn't you? Because you can't find the pinpoint
don't
accurate
have the
spots,
time,
can
do
you?
you, to-
No, I mean you could spend a whole day with a marker and still not really have that idea where to fish, because you still need to have the time to try that spot, don't you? And if it doesn't work, you know, you've got to move it. And so it's good to have the local knowledge if you're on a short session, and hopefully if we ever came again, you know, we'd know some spots. And
Yeah, I feel like we've learnt a lot already.
yeah,
in the
that's
couple
it.
Of days
And
we've been here.
yeah, absolutely. And it was sort of a challenge for me with the distance of the casting, because on the Isle of Wight it's all small lakes, and I've kind of like improved my casting over the 2 days. So at least if I don't catch anything, I've gained something from it. So,
definitely, yeah.
but yeah, we're coming into the evening now. We're going to drink our tea, aren't we, mate? And
We are
then
indeed.
get some
Been
dinner on and
eyeing
that.
it up all day.
We've got the nice wood hut there, so we don't need to bother about bivvies, which is quite nice. So I guess we'll get tidied up.
Have a bit of food.
Yeah, have a bit of food, and then
Starving.
a bit of a chat and that, and then yeah, hopefully something happens tonight. So
Yeah,
yeah,
fingers crossed.
we'll update you guys obviously if anything happens in the night, and then tomorrow I guess I'll just run you through the spots where I'm fishing. I haven't had time to do that, apologies today, but yeah, hopefully something will happen, so stay tuned, and yeah, we'll update you in the morning if not before. Me and Luke were just chatting there, sat on the bench that's in the swim, and my left hand rod's let out a couple of beeps and pulled up tight, and then just stopped there. So I figured it was worth investigating, and the tip was bent round, and lo and behold, we've landed a fish. So the change of swim has paid off. Not the biggest fish in the lake by any stretch, but a welcome one nonetheless. It's pretty lively. I'm just going to hopefully get him to calm down, and then I'll pick him up to show you. And there we go. That's £15, 2 ounces. So probably one of the smallest fish in the lake. This lake's full of 30s here. They call it the home of the 30s, but I've managed to land a mid-double, but yeah, certainly not complaining. It's nice to get off the mark and show you the tactics and the bait and everything's working. So yeah, I'm going to get a couple of stills of this one and I'll get him back, and then tomorrow morning I'll talk you through the tactics and everything. I think I touched on it briefly, but I'll show you the spots and that where I've been fishing. And yeah, I'm so happy to have got one to show you. So yeah, last little look at him. There he is. £15 too. Happy days. Right, so final morning then on what has been a tough session, to be honest with you. As you'll have seen, you know, we had that bad weather when we got here, which made it very difficult to get the rods out, and tricky with the filming as well, so apologies for that. Hopefully, you know, you've enjoyed the video. Luckily, after a move yesterday, we had that nice common sort of 7 o'clock in the evening, so that was brilliant. You know, made the trip worthwhile and made moving swims worthwhile. So it just shows you, you know, if you put the effort in, sometimes you can get the rewards, you know, for working hard at it. And I feel like we have worked hard on this session. It's been great to sort of meet Luke and chat to him a bit about his work with Carpology. Found that very interesting, and hopefully you guys did as well. And you know, hopefully the sort of tactics that I've shown you, the rig that I use and that sort of thing has helped you in your own fishing. And if you do come to Orchid Lakes yourself, you know, maybe you've got something to go on. So in a minute I'm just going to talk you through my spots briefly. The spots that the bailiff gave me, which really helped me catch that fish yesterday, to be honest with you, because he put me right on the spots, and it was quite quick and easy to get the rods out. And I think that sort of helped towards a fairly quick capture of that fish. You know, the rods had only been out for 3 or 4 hours before I caught that one. So we'll do that in a minute. Hopefully there's still time for another bite. We're going to stay till probably about lunchtime or just after, and then I've got to drive back down to Southampton to get my ferry back to the Isle of Wight. So yeah, stay tuned for the spots, guys, and yeah, and we'll sign the video off after that. I hope you've enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more videos. So looking out over the lake here, guys, it does look really good for a bite at the moment. We've got a nice sort of westerly, southwesterly wind blowing across the lake and overcast and everything, so you know, we are still hopeful for a fish. But I just thought I'd talk you through my spots as promised. So my right hand rod, which you can see in the shot there, is going over to that clock tower, which is just here. There's a clock tower there, and I think it's about 23 wraps cast out, and there's a bit of a gravel plateau out there, and the bailiff said, you know, that's a real hot spot. So I've got one rod out there just with my my rig and my bait that I showed you. I've gone a bit heavier on the baiting on that one, just to sort of see if I can try and trigger a bite. And then my middle rod is over towards the bushy tree just there, and that one was 16 3/4 wraps, I think. And what you've got there is a sort of the near side of a gravel bar where it goes to clay, sort of silt. There's like a hard, smooth spot there, and I've gone really light baiting tactics on that one. Just a couple of handfuls of pellet, maybe 10 or so crumbed up S-core boilies, a little bit of hemp, a little bit of corn, but barely anything, you know, just enough to nick a bite really. And that was on an S-core wafter, that one. Unfortunately those two rods haven't produced me anything, but the one that has actually produced was a bit further left, down this way, this sort of yellow bush here just to the right of that. Something like 17.5 wraps, I think it is, down there. And again, you've got like a hard spot which is kind of on the near side of a gravel bar out there, and that was actually the one that did the fish, and that was the S-core bottom bait tipped with the yellow sweet corn, the plastic corn there. And again, over the sort of hemp and corn and pellets and boilie crumb sort of mix. But again, that was a very light baited spot, and just enough for a bite. I think, you know, if you're on a short session like we have been here, you don't want to go crazy with the bait, particularly if the lake's not fishing its nuts off. It's been, you know, fairly tricky on this session, so we've just been really fishing for a bite, and it has paid off, so happy days. We've got a few hours left yet, so sort of stay tuned to the end of the video. If it seems a bit longer than this section, then we've obviously caught another fish to show you, so look out for that. But if not, I hope you've enjoyed it. Please subscribe to the channel and leave a comment if you've got any questions or anything like that, and I'll see you in the next one.